Hello YouTube world, welcome back to my workshop. Project I'm going to do this week is I'm going to use this sea glass. Like that, on occasion I've been down with my grandchildren down the Weston shore in Southampton and we picked this sea glass up off the beach. Just good fun, something to do. I've never used it before. I always think it's a bit of a disappointment because when you pick it up off the beach it's all wet, it's shiny, they're like little diamonds in amongst the stones, and you pick them up and you bring them home and they go this really dull drab where they're all scratched and rather grotty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn a bowl, I'm going to turn a wide groove in the rim, I'm going to put in a thin coat of resin, then I'm going to put a load of the sea glass on top of it and then put that in resin. And what I'm hoping is that the resin will bring back that shine and just make it sparkle. I'm hoping. This is an experiment, I've never done this before, so I am not going to show you the finished product. Normally I stand there and go, this is what I'm going to make for you this week, this is how I do it, and you get to see it before I do. So this time you can watch me do it and see how it turns out, and fingers crossed we end up with something nice and sparkly. So the first thing to do, I've got a nice piece of ash, big log. I'm going to take that over, put it on the bandsaw and cut it into a blank and then just get and turn it down. I've been out, I've treated myself to a new record power SC4 scroll chuck, which is directed to 33mm thread, which is compatible to that one because the chuck I had on there before I had to have an adapter in there, and I'll just use that one for put a set of jaws in there that I don't use very often. So I've got a screw thread in there and I'm going to put that straight into a piece of ash I've got. Just tighten that up. This is going to take me quite some time to do that because all of this has got to be turned away. I've got to bring that up to there. I've got God knows what in there, which hopefully I only need a rim on there, so hopefully that'll turn away because I'm guessing that's what comes through to there. So I turn that away and all this bark needs to come off. You see I'm starting to take that bottom away. A beautiful sporting coming through there. Look at that. That's beautiful. Also you see where that big hole is up there. You see that starting to come through there. I will turn, once I start turning that away through there where that dips down in, I should lose that as well. There's some beautiful coloration coming through there at the moment. Just thought I'd show you that. I'll carry on, turn that away. Alright, I've got this rough this down to pretty much the shape I want. There's some fantastic markings coming through there. That's beautiful through there. I've got quite a few cracks coming in there. This is because that was the pith of the tree on there. And you see these radial cracks coming out on both sides. So they need to be addressed. And I'm going to lose most of that, where that's all sported in there. I should lose a lot of that, although hopefully it will still show up in the inside of the bowl. So what I want to do now is I'll just carry on. I'll just cut all this away, I'll put a tenon on there, and then I'll get and address these cracks, and then I can turn it around in the lathe. So as you can see, I've turned the bowl around now, and this will be the top of the rim, the inside of the bowl. So the first thing I need to do is face this off, get a nice clean edge right the way around, and just give me like a nice index point for where my rim's going to be. So you see I'm just doing this with a bowl gouge, just cleaning that up, roughing all that excess wood away, taking it all down into the middle. Next I'm coming in there with my 1/4 inch parting off tool, and I'm just opening that groove up around there. I just went and sharpened that chisel and getting some lovely cuts coming off of there, some lovely shavings. So I want to make sure this is nice and deep. Don't want to go all the way through, but nice and deep, nice and wide, so I get plenty of glass in there so it'll really show it off to its best effect. So I have this piece of ash. I've put some super glue on there just to seal that crack up. There's a small one there as well. Hopefully that'll be enough. And what I've done now is I've mixed up a little bit of resin, and I put a very small dab of green in there, because what I want to do is really bring out, most of that sea glass is green, and I want to really bring the colour out. Hopefully that'll do it without clouding the resin too much. So what I'm going to do now is pour that in and just have a very small coat all the way around the bottom. So it's really important that we get this level. Come back tomorrow, have a look at that, see what it looks like. So this is the next day. The resin has gone off, and as usual I've been really impatient here, and it was still a little bit tacky, and I thought, well, that'll be okay, I'll put the glass in, and I do pay the price for that later on. You'll be able to see what I've done wrong. But at the moment I've just got all these small pieces of glass. As you see, there's greens and whites and browns, blacks, various shades of green in there. It's just a matter of putting them in there, just filling it up. What I want to do is just make sure that I leave myself plenty of resin along the top, because I will need to take some of it away as I come through later on. So I just want to put the glass in so it does show up through. I'm trying to mix colours up as much as possible, just so that when you see it through the resin you should see all the different sort of kaleidoscope of colours. I'll mix up some resin, put a little tinge of green in there. Alright, that's pretty good, pretty pleased with that. Now, just leave that for a couple of days, let it go off. Well, there we go, wood turners, that's all gone off. That's been about 2 weeks since I've done that. So what I do now, get it back on the lathe and get it all turned down. So I've turned that around, made it in the chuck. So what I've done now is I've turned a small foot on the bottom just to elevate the bowl up off, so if it's sat on a sideboard or something like that, it just elevates it up slightly. I've also cut a small recess in that foot, it's about 60mm, so that when I turn this around in a minute my chuck will fit inside of there in expansion mode. And what I'm doing now is I'm just cleaning this bowl up and just cleaning that rim away, and just until I can see the resin, and there it is, it's just popped through. I'm doing this with my 3/8 bowl gouge. This is my favourite gouge, this one. I always seem to have a lot more control over this one. It does get much sharper edge on it for some reason. I always get a lovely finish off the wood when I use this. So I just want to very gently take that rim away. Because I've now got into the resin, I've started using a scraper, because that does seem to cut it a lot better. Use my skew chisel as a scraper. It's funny how I cut that level, but it's only coming through on one side. That must be slightly out somewhere. So I'm just going to keep on now, I'm going to go on round. I want to take some of the diameter of the bowl down till I get to the other side of that groove that I cut in that was filled with the resin and the glass, because I want to have that shining right the way through. And here I'm just going through and just truing up and cleaning up the outside of the rim. So I've sanded that right down to 800. Now we've put some sand sealer on there. Bring that beautiful grain out. As always with that ash, absolutely beautiful. Lovely, and a bit of wax. Clean bit of cloth, give that a quick buffing. Lovely shine on there. Beautiful, that lovely grain. Right, let's turn it around and hollow it. I just use my scooter as a scraper because that seems to cut that resin a lot better. All of that rims will turn down nicely. I'm just getting hollow all of that out. And anybody who's watched any of my videos before will know this is a bit that I enjoy. I find this quite cathartic. I'll get back to you when I've finished. So I've sanded that down to 800 grit, and we're now going to apply some sanding sealer. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. A bit of wax just to polish it up. I've said before on here about this, but when you can see colour reflected back in that, you know you've got a good finish. When I can see colour in my hand, colour of that cloth in there, it's a piece of glass. It's beautiful. Really nice finish. Oh, there we go, YouTubers. Another finished project. What I've done, I've turned the light on up behind me. Gives you like a little halo. Makes me feel quite saintly. And the reason I've done that is so that the light shines right through there. And you see all that different colours of sea glass shining through there. I'll try again and let the light off. I think it might be too glary. Is glary a word? Nice small foot on there. Just raises it up off the bench or side. Lovely green, aquamarine green there. As usual, that ash has turned up beautiful. Lovely shine on there. Beautiful grain pattern. And I think with that green around the top, I think that really does show that off. Beautiful. Really lovely job. Really enjoyed making that. I'll put a few stills up at the end of the video and you can have a look at it. Well, as always, I hope you enjoyed watching it, because I certainly enjoyed making that. It has been a long process, but well worth it. As always, I've been Steve Howell. You look after yourself, and I'll see you all again next week. You take care. Bye bye.